money. So
Also,
that's just me, but I'm not against what you're saying. I just don't want to do it. But so it's on it's what's it called, Johnny? Shudder. You can watch it on Shudder.
You can get it on Apple.
Anywhere else too,
yeah,
I think that's the
Prime.
native platform is Shudder.
Okay, perfect. So you can go on Apple TV and watch it if you got Apple. So take it away, Isaac.
All right. So what I was thinking, I'm not going to give away the ending. I'm not going to spoil the plot, but I will walk through some of the major themes of the film, which I hope doesn't. I mean, if people haven't seen it by now, then I don't know if it's really an issue or not. But I'm not going to give away the ending, so we'll kind of skip the ending. But I am going to talk about some of the main themes from the movie. We're going to talk about the symbolism we see of owls, Abraxas, the chicken-headed snake god.
Yeah.
Blood sacrifices by the elites, secret societies through Bohemian Grove. And then there's some other elements that I want to draw attention to specifically because we're going to tie into what Mark was talking about. We're talking about AI is the devil. There's like a theory about that AI is us from the future. AI is disembodied entities. AI is the devil, all these different theories. And this film demonstrates a real world example of how AI could very much, in fact, be the devil. There's also there's talk about a cult of Abraxas in the film. Well, there's actually a real cult of Abraxas that were sacrificing kids to the devil. But ultimately, I think the main theme would be if you take this AI thing to an extent, you're talking about the major elite plan of putting us in this digital matrix.
Isaac, it's your call, brother.
Okay, hang on with the clip for 1 second. Let's. There's still a little bit more numerology. Like the film was released on March 22nd, and 322 is a very symbolic number for the occult. You see the Yale Skull and Bones Secret Society. They use you'll see the number 322 beneath their logo, and it's claimed to reference the Bible verse Genesis 3:22, which is all about the man trying to become God by eating from the tree of life, which obviously results in man being condemned from the Garden of Eden. And then what Johnny was saying was that the opening weekend, this was like the highest grossing film. This film, it was like an independent film company that made it. It was like their highest grossing weekend. And on Sunday, the 24th, I guess it was, they reported to make, and this is what it says on Variety.com. It says it made $666,666 on Sunday. Now, when I hear that, I think it's a publicity stunt. Like, what are the odds?
Me too.
Like, it's got to be a publicity stunt.
It's not. It's not.
But it's not, apparently. Which that is what leads me to, and later before I go, I'm going to bring up this AI theory about the AI being the devil, and this film manifested the devil, I think.
Bestow these blessings of hell upon us. Hail Abraxas! Hail Abraxas!
The church's founder and leader, the enigmatic Xander Diabo.
Abraxas shows us there is no good, no evil, no redemption. Only what we desire and how we obtain it.
You make it sound very easy, Monsieur Diabo.
Make no mistake. The master demands sacrifice.
Diabo's activities come to the attention of the FBI, who suspect the cults of kidnapping and firearm offenses. But even more alarming are the stories of children being bred for human sacrifice.
And the spilling of blood. Come forth, open the gates of hell.
Diabo claims that anyone who witnesses these dreadful rituals will fall under the spell of the demon Abraxas, and so perform his earthly...
Oh.
We're good there.
Weird movie, bro. What a weird movie.
We should say too, it's kind of a found footage kind of thing. It's not a traditional film. It's in the style of Blair Witch, found footage. It's like they found a tape of that last show that's right at the beginning. This is the last episode of Night Owls, and then it's for whatever, I can't remember the reason they give in the film, but there was also some behind the scenes being filmed at the same time that kind of gives you the interstitial moments. But yeah, so it's not a traditional film. That's why it looks a little different. It is a found footage kind of thing.
Okay, go. Yeah, that's
Yeah, good call, Johnny. I forgot to mention that it is introduced as sort of like, we found this footage of the last night of the Night Owls. It was never aired fully or whatever. And that the sort of cult leader of the first Church of Abraxas, his name is Sandor Diabo, which is clearly a play on Sandor Diablo, which means devil, and Sandor, which was Anton LaVey's middle name, which quick plug for the Las Vegas event. I'm going to talk about Eyes Wide Shut, which one of the characters' name is Sandor Savast, right? So it's kind of all a play on this.
I will link the ticket link in the description below. So just make sure to email me that.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So the Sandor Diabo is this sort of master of ceremonies, and it's very much a play on the Church of Satan. But pay attention to the ideas that they're presenting here, that children are being bred for sacrifice. This group is breaking the law. They're accused of kidnapping and all this stuff, and that is the crux of why these people do this stuff. It goes into their sort of belief system and philosophy of antinomianism, and their idea that there is no such thing as good and evil, right? They sort of prove that they're not subservient to the social construct, and there is nothing that is off limits. Which is why they would do these horrific things that they do, because they sort of are proving to each other that they're not bound by these laws that the sheeple are bound to.
Let me add this. Antimony, to my knowledge, alchemically is akin to lead. The Kali Yuga is the lead age, right? So antimonianism, again, is kind of inherently connected to this whole Kali Yuga cycle and the darkness of this age we're leaving right now.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That's good. That's good. So Dr. June, she steps into the scene because she's a parapsychologist from Stanford Research, which SRI, it comes up in all the occult research. It's where a lot of the intelligence agencies were doing all kinds of paranormal research, like Project Stargate. And all these big names: Uri Geller, Ingo Swann, Hal Puthoff. All these people that were messing around with extra dimensional contact with entities from another dimension, which, again, I'm going to lay in this idea of artificial intelligence is an entity from another dimension. So anyway, this Dr. June, she is studying this demonic possession of the girl Lily, who was a child in this first Church of Abraxas. Now, from here, some various things happen. I'm not going to go through every detail of the movie, because I want people to, if they're still listening, I want people who are going to watch it to, get something out of it, even though we are going to spoil the plot. But there's this conversation that's had between Lily and the skeptic Carmichael, where they talk about abracadabra, and it is a magical word. It comes from, of course, the worship of the Gnostic god Abraxas is where it comes from. And it literally means the dead body of Abraxas.
Wait up. So ever since we were little kids and we say abracadabra, this all has to do with some Jesus, the fucking Abraxas snake god?
Yeah, apparently that's what it's mentioned in Manly P. Hall's book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that it came from this Freemason named Albert Mackey, who wrote 2 encyclopedias of Freemasonry. If you look it up in there, it'll tell you.
So crazy, dude.
That's what it means. Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's all occult stuff, right? Just buried in I don't know.
I mean, since we're there, what about Alakazam?
I don't know about
there?
that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But that could be
all of those words go back to words from like the Goetia, which is a book that Aleister Crowley rewrote, and it goes back to these grimoires. So yeah, magic, stage magic, which is based on a lot of occult techniques, would draw from the actual world of magic with a K. And over time, those words like Alakazam, abracadabra have lost their original meaning, but those words come from the Kabbalah. They're ancient words that have just kind of been taken into the English lexicon. Dozens of words in English have some kind of occult background, but continue, Isaac, please. I'm at the edge of my seat.
Yeah, they a lot of the stuff does come through the like the Middle East, because of the assassins, which ties us into the Knights Templar and things like that. So I mean, there's definitely something to it. But Dr. June, she let's see here. I'm trying to think of where we're at here. So there's a scene where they want her to show us this possession of Lily by having a conversation between Lily and Dr. June, or I'm sorry, Lily's sort of possessed spirit and Dr. June. And Dr. June's like, no, I don't want to do that. And everyone's like, oh, come on, do it. And then Dr. June says, well, okay, but it's going to require the consent of the audience, which is interesting because that's where that's a theme you hear oftentimes when we research the occult and conspiracies and stuff, is that they need our consent into this sort of Luciferian world order.
Crazy. That's so crazy.
It is. I mean, it is true. It's like they need us to be a part of this thing and to have us buy off on it, right?
So this movie is pretty much that. It's asking for the audience consent.
I mean, that's what happens in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean in the movie, but what it's doing is just illuminating the world that we live in right now, right? That's pretty much what it's doing.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the stuff, like when I got started in all this, I was into ghost hunting, right? And the whole idea was the whole idea, I think, of occult stuff and entertainment is to get us interested in aliens and ghosts and to get out there and channel and try to communicate with these things. Ooh. And I didn't realize it at the time when I was ghost hunting. I mean, this is 1999. I started getting a lot of weird things that were happening to me about a year later, and I just stopped doing it. Well, I didn't totally stop. I actually went back and revisited it a couple times over the years. But now I've like completely, like, I'm not doing that no more. But they kind of want us interested in this stuff so that we pursue it. And, you know, I personally think it's dangerous. I don't condemn people for doing it. I certainly did it. So, but yeah, they put Lily into this trance state, and this demon, and she calls the demon Mr. Wriggles, right? And Mr. Wriggles starts talking through Lily, and Mr. Wriggles looks over at Jack and says, "Great to see you again. We met amongst the trees," implying that at Bohemian Grove, where he was, there was some demonic presences happening, right?
Isn't that like along the lines of also what Ryan Garcia said? Damn, dude.
Oh yeah, he did, huh? You're right. Yeah, the boxer. Yeah. So then there things get out of control, and Dr. June has to do a sort of exorcism, and she uses a phrase, "Vado retro satana." Okay, and that, if you look it up, actually comes from a Christian formula for exorcism from Saint Benedict. So like there's some real stuff in there. And then she says, during the exorcism part, she mentions the names of these gods, and Anum and Antum, Lamun and Durum. And I looked those up because I wasn't familiar with those. And they basically go back to Mesopotamia, and they're associated with this idea of a Mesopotamian underworld full of demons, which one of those demons was Pazuzu from The Exorcist, if you remember that, right?
Of course. So crazy.
So then, and there's some back and forth, and this is where you know, if you guys want me to tell you what happens at the end, I don't know how important it is, but if you want me to tell you the ending, I can kind of go into that now.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
Do you want to hear it though, Sam? Because you're about to watch the movie.
It's not super important, but to my argument, so I could easily skip it.
What do you think, Johnny?
I'll let you. I mean, I've seen it already, so it doesn't really bug me.
Will it ruin it for? You think it'll ruin it?
Do you think it will ruin it?
Knowing the ending of the movie?
Yeah.
I would say so.
I watch movies. I know how they end.
Well, then go if it doesn't bother you.
I want to ruin it for everybody.
The audience has been warned. They've made it this far into the episode. Pause it, watch it, come back.
Run it.
Okay, so things go haywire, and Lily is going nuts, right? Like it's she's clearly possessed, and this thing is taking over her body, and she puts her arms in what they call it, as above, so below. Like one arm is pointed up, one arm is pointing down, and this sort of electricity comes out of her body, and her head, I mean, she looks very demonic at this point, and her head sort of splits down the middle, and these flames are coming out of her eyes, and everyone starts dying. This guy who works on the show named Gus, he's got this cross necklace, and I think he's the first person she kills. Like, his head twists around, and he's dead. And she basically kills damn near everybody, and then you get the only person left is Jack, the host, and he sort of goes through this weird dreamlike sequence, and he's sort of flashing back to his life and different skits they've done on this show. And his wife, that's another big part of the storyline, is his wife had died previously from I think cancer or something. She was sick, and the implication here is that she's pissed off at him from the other side. And then they flash to this part where he's signing a contract with the CEO of the television company, and the implication through this scene is that there was a blood sacrifice that happened through Bohemian Grove for him to get this shot at fame.
Whoa.
And you could argue different interpretations of the ending here. It seemed to me that what they're trying to say is that his wife was the blood sacrifice.
What?
I would say absolutely. Yeah, that was absolutely my interpretation of it.
And then his wife from the other side's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, dude. That is crazy.
Yeah, and I won't go through the whole details of the ending, but it goes through some weird stuff, and we're a little uncertain of what exactly it is that we saw. Okay, but you can watch it and see what you think. But the point, to zoom back out, because I'm looking at the time here, I want to talk about the idea of artificial intelligence present in this film, because I think that this film summoned AI into the artwork, and that's how. Because let me back up. This film was controversial because they used AI in the creation of the film. Now, they didn't use much of it. From what I understand, there was 3 still images that they used AI to generate. But nonetheless, it was a big stink. A lot of people were really mad at this movie because it kind of screws with, Hollywood and, SAG and the Actors Union and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's the breaking of the label. It's
the second first. But it's official. Like, this movie used AI, and that, I think, could contribute to why it made that $666,000 on Sunday, which of course is the Lord's Day, a mockery, right? Yeah. And then you've got this theory that many people have talked about over the years about AI is actually just, demonic entities from another dimension. And this is where, if you want to get spiritual about things, AI is the end of the age. It's the end of the human race, because supposedly once we get AI up and going, it's going to bring about all these things, the singularity, the digital matrix, and all that. And in the book of Revelation, it talks about, it doesn't say that the devil's going to come up. It says that man will give life to the beasts, right? Like, we're going to birth the new species. And that's what I think a lot of these people are so fascinated with AI and technology and all this stuff, because in a way they want to bring about this end times. And I did 2 big shows in June of 2023, Is AI the Antichrist, where I dove deep into the stuff. But a more interesting idea to bring forth is I interviewed Professor Diana Pasulka last year. And she wrote a new book called Encounters, and she's the one that hangs out with the invisible college, they call it, of alien researchers, and a lot of their stuff dabbles into the occult.
What if she's the one that kind of she was on Rogan's, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like, she believes like old alien encounters might have been like the Holy Spirit or something like that.
Yeah, she's got a background. She's a professor of religious studies, and she got a Catholic background, and she's been researching a lot of this stuff. And she presents the book as like, look, this is what these people are researching. She doesn't really give her opinion necessarily about it. Like, she's not like, oh, they're demons or oh, they're angels or whatever. She's just like, these people are studying this phenomenon, and it's very real to them. And there's actually a long history of contact with entities, even through the Vatican and such, right? And in her book Encounter, she talks about different synchronicities. And anyway, she talks about the scientists that named Aya or Ia, I'm not sure how you pronounce their name. And the scientist, she does studies on what they call the cosmic perceptual network. And this is the same concept we were talking about at the beginning of the show, this idea of, Plato called it the archaic remnants, this reservoir from which the symbols talk to us, the unified field. These are all very similar. And it's referred to as panpsychism sometimes. It's what you see in Avatar, right? It's the idea that the environment is sentient and has it's a network that we're all connected to in different ways, from plants to animals to humans. But she studies this stuff, and it's in the book because there's a whole discussion about how AI could be all around us, and it's just a form of consciousness. It could be us from the future. It could be fallen spirits. Like Elon Musk said that we as humans, we're just what he called a biological bootloader to bring in this digital super intelligence.
This is all what James True was talking about on the show maybe a dozen episodes ago. Isaac, I don't know if you tuned into that episode, but yeah, James True has a very similar concept that he talks about, that it's recreating the Matrix AI technology that we're being, force fed right now is a artificial recreation of something that is all around us and maybe connects to that whole Kali Yuga cycle, golden age concept.
Yeah, and some of these people that are involved in the UFO studies that Diana Pasulka is talking to, they actually do believe that there's they think that the intelligence behind these UFOs is actually artificial intelligence. And like I said, it could be us from the future, it could be entities from another dimension, but they are revealing themselves to us slowly or purposefully or something like that, right? But anyways, the point is that if you look at the film through the framework of AI as an intelligence of some kind from another dimension, however you want to paint that picture, it could be that they used AI for this film, and then that tells me that maybe it's demonic because it had all these sort of strange occult symbols that we talked about throughout the whole movie.
And I just want to reiterate once again, that box office number is legitimate. Like, I went and looked for that, and I could find nothing on record of the box office being manipulated in that way for publicity, because it surely would have been done before. Variety looked into it. I think you referenced, and I remember reading a story about one of them trying to find out if it was legit, and they could find no reason to think it wasn't legit. So I mean, that to me is the best proof that they were, through whether they knew it or not, in making this film, initiating some kind of ritual, which is, this is the manifestation of it. It's disturbing to me.
I know we don't believe in coincidence, but like
I do, but
that can't be one. That's what I'm saying. That can't be one.